This is George again at Medic Gone Wild, and this is the third of my series I'm doing on breaking down bulk items of food into smaller, more manageable sizes. This is from our recent trip to Sam's. We started out with 25 pounds of sugar, 7 pounds of powdered sugar, and about, I think, 7 pounds of brown sugar. And I broke it down. This will all go into our storage. I've put a lot of it is in our counters for more current uses. But you can see we got a wide variety of containers I use, from mason jars, spaghetti jars, pickle jars, things like that. It'll work as long as it's going to keep the moisture out. Now, granted, the longer something is, like the mason jars, which I will seal, will be last longer than, say, this plastic jar right here. But in a lot of ways, it's ways for us to recycle and cut some of the costs. Instead of constantly buying mason jars, we can use this stuff, because this right here, I may be putting it in our sugar jar in the next month. I don't need to go through all the trouble of using this with the lids and all that if I'm going to just use a month. As long as it keeps the moisture out, it'll be all right. So obviously this stuff will be used first, followed by, across the board. Same with the brown sugar. These bottles over here, these are bottles, I think I got this at a Goodwill store. I've got a few of them. And in this one, I use them when I do homemade barbecue sauce. It works fine. Pour it in there. It's hot and it cools. It reseals it, and they last. So you can see I put all my powdered sugar basically in these smaller containers, because this is about the size that our shaker uses. But this is also about one, and we don't do as much with powdered sugar. Only really they use it when they're baking and cereals, or not cereals, but breakfast items like pancakes and stuff. So this bag that we've got of powdered sugar will last us a long time. So this will be down in our storage for a while. So I want to make sure it's going to last for a good time. And you can also do this. I've done it with cereal, both breakfast cereal, oatmeals, dried and powdered milk, rice, beans, popcorn, anything dry you can do this with. Now, there's two different ways to do it. The way I currently have been using is I have this attachment that goes to my vacuum sealer. I'll put it on, I'll show you in a minute how I do it, and it'll vacuum all the air out of one of these jars, causing it to seal. The other way you can do it is you do it with the glass jars, not with the plastic stuff, but with the glass jars. You can put them in the oven, and I think it's like 150 degrees for like 3 hours. I'd have to look it up to be sure, but it's and then you put the lid on and you bake it with the lid on for like 30 minutes, and it superheats all the air. So when it cools, it creates the same thing as doing a boil bath or pressure canner. It superheated the air, so when it cools, it creates the suction and draws it down. And they last. I've got stuff in my basement I've had down there for almost 10 years, and it's still sealed. So in the event of emergency, it'll work. But this is some of the stuff we use. You could also do it in Mylar bags and then put it in the 5-gallon drum, which here in the next couple months, I'll probably do that with a lot of my rice. Do 5-gallon buckets of rice so I can get some of my jars back. So, and you can use the pressure or the vacuum sealer to do Mylar bags too. From what I understand, I'll let y'all know more about that once I start experimenting with it. But that's basically what we do here. I mean, like I said, you can do any kind of dried goods with this. I wouldn't do any kind of wet goods because, the bacteria. But dried goods, you can use the vacuum sealer and pull all the air out of it. Just remember to go back and check your seals, because sometimes it doesn't always do it. So, and without that, we're going to go ahead and start. I'll show you how to use one. So you cannot do it with the ring on. You have to take the ring off. Make sure nothing's interfering in the seal. You can see it. And then we'll put this on there, make sure it's good and seated down. And then We'll vacuum it. You should be able to start seeing like where it's pulling all the air out of it. Alright, I don't know if y'all heard there or not, but you can hear the little tink of the lid. Now here's where it gets tricky. I don't know if I can do this one-handed. It'd be easy taking this off or you'll peel the lid off. But, nope, you can see, it is sealed. You don't have to put a ring on it. I do just for a little bit extra security. But, they make two different sizes, y'all can see. There's one for like your regular and one for your wide mouth. So you kind of have to have both of them. But that's all you do to do the vacuum seal on the jars. So it's not that difficult to do. So, and the nice thing about it, because you're not heating it, one thing, I just made a mess, but one thing I do is I will reuse sometimes my lids from when I do my boil bathing or pressure cooking. That's why you can see writing on it. When I do this, because you don't really mess up the lid too much by just pulling the air out. So it'll last a couple times. So again, it's another way to recycle and reuse. So any questions? The next one I'll do, I don't know if I'll get to it today, but it will probably be over breaking down the cans. You can see the big cans of feed or food into mason jar size servings. So any questions, please leave a comment down below. Any suggestions, leave a comment down below. If you enjoy this, like and subscribe to the page. I'll keep posting more stuff if y'all keep wanting to watch it. Thanks to everybody who's already subscribed so far, and I hope y'all find some of this stuff educational. I'm always willing to be educated, so please send me any ideas you have for video ideas or suggestions on how to do something better. Again, this is George with Medic Gone Wild. See y'all in the next video. Bye.